Never book an Airbnb without reading every single word in the description. That's the lesson I learned after one of the most terrifying nights of my life when I heard someone moving around in what I thought was my empty Airbnb. And I'm about to save you from making the same mistake. So I was planning a trip to go to Yosemite National Park. I was thinking, I haven't touched grass in a while, thought that would be a great place to do it. But when I was planning the trip, I decided I was gonna drive up there the night before, stay the night, and then explore the area the next day, which meant I needed a place to stay. As anyone would do, I start scrolling through the Airbnb app looking for a place that's cheap, but also nice, cause your boy is stingy. I can't even lie. Like if I ask you who your favorite character was on SpongeBob, you're probably gonna say Patrick or SpongeBob himself, but for me, it was Mr. Krabs. That's my goat for real. So after looking through the Airbnb app for a while, I hit the jackpot. I found the perfect house. It had these amazing photos, 5-star reviews, it was in a perfect location, and it was unusually cheap compared to all the other houses in the area. Knowing what I know now, I definitely should have questioned that part, but instead, the Mr. Krabs inside of me started kicking his feet and I booked that place as quickly as possible. But while trying to book the house before anyone else could, a seemingly minor detail slipped past me. One that would soon haunt my quiet weekend escape. Because fast forward to Friday, I'm driving up to this rental house, vibrating with excitement. I packed like I was moving. I brought snacks for my big bag. I brought my favorite blanket. I even brought candles. Do I use candles? No, but I just felt like they were necessary for this trip. And when I pulled up to the house, it matched the photos exactly, which made me question even more why it was so cheap. But I didn't care. When I first saw it, I was pumped. I started mentally planning all the videos I was gonna make to make it seem like this was my house, even though I definitely could not afford it. Shout out to all the fake internet gurus who make a living by doing that, by the way. You guys are the worst. But anyways, the host had messaged me that the key would be underneath the flower pot by the front door. I found it right away, unlocked the door, and stepped inside. But immediately, this is when things started to get weird. Because the first thing I smelled when opening the door was smoke. At first, I just figured whoever stayed there previously had the fireplace on and they didn't open a window to get the smell out. And I didn't pay any more thought to that. So then I headed upstairs to see where I'd be sleeping. And once again, things just felt weird. I get to the top of the stairs and there's a hallway with a couple of doors. One's a bathroom, one's a bedroom that looked just like the photos. But then there was this other door at the very end of the hallway. A door that wasn't in any of the listing photos on the app. And it stood out because it was a completely different color from all the other ones and it looked way older. Being the nosy person I am, I pulled on the handle expecting Narnia to be on the other side, but it was locked. Which is super weird, right? Like why would there be a locked door that looked this weird that was specifically hidden in all the pictures? Because I checked the app again to make sure I just didn't miss it the first time, and sure enough, every picture they took of the house made sure to cut out this weird door. Like they edited it specifically so it wouldn't show. I step back and look around the hallway again, and that's when it hits me. Something's off about this place. The furniture in the bedroom wasn't exactly like the photos, same style but different color. There was a half-empty bottle of water on the nightstand. It suddenly felt like I wasn't alone in this house. And as the sun starts to set, casting weird shadows through the windows, that feeling only got stronger. You know how in horror movies there's always that one door that nobody should open? Well, this locked one was giving me those exact vibes. I just couldn't stop thinking why they deliberately didn't show the photos of that door in the listing and why it would be locked. But after discovering this forbidden door, I just tried my best to ignore it and enjoy the rest of my stay. I unpacked all my stuff, made myself a sandwich, and tested out the living room. But after scrolling through my phone for about 30 minutes, giving myself the necessary daily intake of brain rot needed to function, I just kept thinking about the room that was locked. So I crept back upstairs for another look. This time, I pressed my ear against the odd-looking door, holding my breath to listen better. I didn't know what I was expecting, but I was just so fascinated with what could be on the other side of this. And then something happened. A faint humming noise sounds through the wood. So quiet that I couldn't tell if it came from inside that room or if it was just my brain playing tricks on me. Because I have no idea why, but my brain loves to gaslight me. Like whenever I'm in the shower, I'll be hearing noises that makes it sound like my family is screaming in the living room as if they're getting attacked. So I'll get out as soon as possible, only to see my parents in the living room chilling. So I didn't know if this was just one of those scenarios or if it was real. But either way, my imagination spiraled out of control. Was this some sort of get out situation where the host lures people to come inside and then experiments on them? Was I about to end up as a true crime podcast episode? Social media creator known for the phrase oil up found in Airbnb. Now that I think about it, that's really how I'm gonna be remembered, huh? Isn't it? I gotta do something important in my life, so if this ever actually happens, they have something good to say about me. But anyways, I decided to snap a photo of the door and send it to my friend Matt. If I mysteriously disappear, just know it wasn't an accident, is what I said to him. He responded in the most appropriate way possible by sending me a meme of Peter Griffin shooting a fadeaway. Cause why wouldn't he? Did he even read the text I sent? Probably not. But either way, his response actually kind of helped me because it eased my tension and made me feel relaxed. So after deciding that the noises weren't real, I went back to the living room, laid down, and watched some TV. That was until what happened a few hours later. At midnight, with my guard finally down, sprawled out on the couch, I heard something that made me realize the locked door wasn't just creepy, it was potentially dangerous. I was watching some random show, Netflix and chilling, except without the part where you have a girl next to you. But as my eyelids were getting heavy and I was finally starting to forget about that weird door upstairs, I heard a thump. I froze mid-yawn. This wasn't a quiet little creak that old houses make or something that my brain could trick me with. This was real, and it was directly above me in that room. Then it followed by another sound, and another. These sounds had a pattern to them, as if someone was moving up there. I grabbed the remote and hit mute on the TV. The sudden silence somehow felt worse. I held my breath and listened, afraid even my breathing would mask what that sound was upstairs. But for about 30 seconds, there wasn't another sound. Once again, I tried convincing myself that everything was just okay. Maybe a bird was walking on the roof. A really, really fat bird. Or who knows, maybe it just started hailing. But then I hear another noise. And this one couldn't have been mistaken for a bird on a bulk. You know why? Because this time, I heard a voice. I go full statue mode. Barely breathing. My mind raced through every possible scenario. Was it someone breaking in? Was it a ghost? Or was it something even more scary, like young Sheldon?
Bazinga.
Then I heard the footsteps again. They moved from one side of the ceiling to another. Slow, deliberate steps, like someone was trying to be quiet, but they were unaware that I was below them. This wasn't my imagination anymore, or just the house settling. It was a person. I sat frozen, clutching a pillow as if that was gonna do anything against an intruder. My fight or flight response completely glitched. I wasn't doing either. Just sitting there like a deer in headlights. The footsteps stopped again, and it was complete silence. Then, something else. Drawers opening and closing. Multiple drawers, as if someone was searching for something. Then reality hit me hard. Someone was probably up there right now, going through my stuff. The sounds continued for what felt like forever, but was probably just a few minutes. Open, close, footsteps. Open, close again. Not knowing what I should do, I texted my friend group. Someone is in the Airbnb with me upstairs, moving around. What should I do? Their responses came instantly. Get out now. You're cooked. They're gonna touch you. Great advice, guys. Nothing like your friends making jokes when you're freaking out. I know it might sound stupid to text your friends in this scenario, but it just gave me a sense of comfort. Then, I tried deciding what to do next. Because I know what all of you are thinking. Leave the house. And that's what I wanted to do. But remember, my room was also upstairs. So when I got there, I put all my stuff up there, including my keys. I couldn't make a run for it without my car. But also, I did not want to go back up there. So instead, I just stayed put. Have you ever been in a moment where the silence becomes more terrifying than the noise? That's where I was. The footsteps had stopped, and not in a maybe they're gone way, but in that horror movie, they're waiting for that perfect time to pounce way. At this point, I'm crouched behind the kitchen counter, clutching a butter knife as if it would actually do anything, just trying my best to be quiet. I turned all the lights off in hopes that whoever was up there wouldn't know that anyone was downstairs in case they came down. But the thing about hiding in the dark is that it works both ways. Whatever is making this sound can't hear anything, but I can't hear anything either, until I noticed something that made my heart drop. Shadows moving across the wall, shaped exactly like a person. The faint glow from the street lamps outside made that shadow seem 10 times bigger than it really was, making my heart pounce like a cheetah. Suddenly, my grip started to tighten on the knife. Fun fact about me, I've never won a fight in my life. The closest thing I've ever had to combat training was watching these YouTube videos while in the back of an Uber that were called self-defense moves anyone can do. Because the driver was a little creepy, so I started playing those videos out loud. So basically, I was doomed. The shadow stretched toward the ceiling as someone definitely was coming down the stairs. Time slowed down as I watched this mystery person walk down the stairs of what I thought was my Airbnb. Once again, my brain went wild. Was this a serial killer targeting solo Airbnb guests? Did they have a secret entrance to that locked room? Was whatever was about to happen gonna turn me into a meme? The shadow got to the bottom of the stairs and froze. Completely still, listening. I pictured them standing there, head tilted, trying to figure out if they were alone. But now, it went towards the front of the house instead of the kitchen where I was at. Were they looking for valuables? Were they trying to block my only exit? Crouched behind the counter, my legs cramping, I debated on making a noise. But then I thought, that's exactly what the people in horror movies would do right before they die. So I stayed quiet. Then, I saw my chance. The shadow moved toward the front door, away from both me and the hallway leading to the back door. If I was gonna run, now was the time. I was doing all sorts of calculations in my brain. Distance to the back door, how fast could I unlock it, hop the gate in the backyard, and run away? Could I do all this before they caught me? I know I said I couldn't leave because my keys were upstairs, but after actually seeing this person, I didn't care about that car no more. I was just like, man, I'm gonna see how far I can run. My plan wasn't great, but waiting to get discovered seemed way worse. So I rose slowly with my knife ready, and I took one step, but the floorboard creaked. I froze. The shadow stopped moving too. For what felt like an eternity, we both stayed completely still. We were out there playing red light, green light. I was completely out of hiding, totally exposed if they turned around. But then, something weird happened. The shadow moved again, still, towards the front door. So then I thought, oh, they must have not heard me. Or maybe they were just pretending not to. My heart was pounding so hard, I'm pretty sure it was visible through my shirt. I took the deepest breath ever and decided what I was gonna do. While they were focused on whatever they were doing at the front door, I was gonna make a run. 3, 2, 1. And I launched myself forward like a ninja who got his training specifically from Ninjago. With the back door in sight, I had one hand stretched toward freedom and the other hand holding a butter knife as if Gordon Ramsay just told me he didn't like my cooking. But just as my fingers were about to touch the back door, the lights turn on. And suddenly, I was standing there completely exposed like when your mom walks in during the embarrassing part of a movie. Time stopped. Butter knife raised above my head looking like a psychopath. I finally see this person that was at the end of the hallway, but they just looked like a normal dude. He was wearing pajama pants and a wrinkled t-shirt, looking at me with the exact same terrified expression I had towards him. For a split second, we were just two scared people having a silent staring contest with each other in the middle of the night. Then, we both screamed. "Who are you?" he yelled. "Who am I? Who are you?" I yelled back while jabbing my butter knife in his direction. "What are you doing in my Airbnb?" As I said that, he retreated toward the front door with his hand on the wall for support. I stumbled back into the kitchen, refusing to take my eyes off of him as I tripped over furniture. Then he says,
"I think you're confused."
With my voice slightly calmer but still shaking, I say, what are you talking about?" Then he goes,
"I booked the room upstairs for the weekend."
That made me pause, because he said upstairs room, as in singular room, not the whole house. He must have sensed my confusion because he slowly reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone.
"Look, I can show you my booking confirmation,"
he said. As he turned his phone screen toward me, something started nagging in the back of my brain. Did I actually read the full listing description before booking this place? Or did I just look at the pretty pictures and the price tag and automatically press book now? Even from across the room, I could see the Airbnb logo and booking confirmation on his phone that said upstairs bedroom, shared bathroom, and shared kitchen. My entire body went numb. I didn't book the whole house. I rented a singular room in a house where the other rooms could also be rented. The mysteriously locked door wasn't some creepy secret room. No, it was just where this dude was staying. I lowered my pathetic butter knife, with my face turning red from embarrassment instead of fear now, and I said to him, "So you're not robbing the place?" As he lets out a nervous laugh, he goes,
"No, I was just getting water and I figured no one was down here because the lights turned off, but then I heard you breathing. I got worried because I knew another guest could be here, but I didn't know why they were standing in the dark."
Yeah, that's my bad, dog. So, we ended up laughing about it and everything was okay. But this is why you should always read the fine print before booking. And maybe ease up on those true crime podcasts. My paranoia nearly turned me into a headline that would have said, "Psycho 6'3" handsome man attacks fellow guest with butter knife in an Airbnb misunderstanding." That's definitely what a headline about me would have said, right? Right?